E3 2019 has ended, and I actually thought it was a pretty good show this year. I didn't have much hope going into it, but I actually came out of it pretty excited for a lot of games, some of which I was quite sure I wouldn't care about going in. So I have a list of games I want to talk about, both the ones I'm actually interested in and the ones that I just want to have something to say about. And I think we would go through them one by one, alphabetical order, so no favoritism here, although I will make it pretty clear which ones I like the best. So let's start off right away with Age of Empires II Definitive Edition. Now this initially confused me because I was like, didn't they already release this? And they did. Age of Empires II HD Edition is a thing, but Definitive Edition is a new version, and I really like Age of Empires, the first two games especially. I haven't played Age of Empires 4, it released a few years ago, but I'm a big fan of the original games, and I've been playing Age of Empires 2 HD Edition a lot, so I'll gladly, play another updated version that might actually, keep the game going. Because one of the cool things about HD Edition was that even though the game was like 20 years old or something when the HD Edition released, well, it was probably close to 15 actually, they started making new expansion packs for it. So they actually kept like updating that original old game after all this time, and I thought that was really neat. And yeah, it's cool. I'm looking forward to that. That was shown at the Microsoft press conference, or the Xbox press conference. They're just calling all their game stuff Xbox now, even the PC stuff. So, okay, sure. Animal Crossing: New Horizons. Now, I love Animal Crossing. I was really fond of New Leaf, the 3DS version, and I played it a lot until my SD card got corrupted and I lost my town. And then I just sort of taken a break from the series since then, which is okay because the series have also taken a break since then. They released that Pocket Camp game for the smartphones, and I didn't like it. I did try to play, but I did not care for it at all. But New Horizons looks really good, and I like that they've already confirmed that like the character customizations, like everything like hairstyles and clothing and face types will not be locked by gender. Like there's no gender restriction at all. It's just how you look. Like I really appreciate that. Like Animal Crossing New Leaf allowed you to cross-dress, but they will still make a comment about it. Like, oh, you're trying on a dress? Well, aren't you a bit adventurous? Or it's like, shut up. You just let this boy wear a dress. Like. But I'm glad that they have improved upon that. That's really neat. Yeah, that's cool. Ari and the Secret of Seasons. This game I didn't actually hear about until after E3 had ended, and it seems to be sort of a it looks to be sort of a Zelda-style adventure. You play as this girl named Ari, and it has a really pretty art style. And I don't know, it looks good. I hadn't heard about it. It's from an indie developer, and it's coming out on PC and all that other stuff, so check it out. Astral Chain. This is Platinum's new game, specifically from the Metal Gear Rising team. And it looks really cool. You basically fight using stands from JoJo, which, that's neat. So you control two things at the same time. You control your player character and the sort of stand that you have with you. I don't know what they call them in the game. Again, character customization. You can design your own character. I believe that the main characters are like twins. They're brother and sister. So you only play as one of them, but like you have both of them anyway. Which I believe was how Mass Effect Andromeda did their gender options as well. There's been some talk about this because you play as a police officer in this sort of like extreme cyberpunk like high octane action game, and of course it's not very punk to be a police officer, is it? But people are sort of hoping that the twist in the game is that the police are part of the issue, because you're basically just fighting demons, and it looks really cool and people want to like it. And let's just say that police aren't the most popular with people these days. Baldurs Gate 3. Now this one came out of nowhere. I was not prepared for this one. This was announced at the Stadia event that Google held. And I know they said back when they announced Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, like way back in, I don't know, 2011, 2012, something, that the intent was to, was it earlier maybe? But the intent was to eventually get to Baldur's Gate 3 finally. And, well, it's here now. Baldur's Gate 3 is coming out, and it's by the Divinity Original Sin developer, I believe, which is a game people like. I haven't played Divinity Original Sin myself, but I've heard a lot of people say it's basically the best modern equivalent of a classic computer role-playing game you can find. So that's cool. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not sure if I'll like it or not. Like, Baldur's Gate I liked, but it was never like my big favorite game or anything like that. I preferred Icewind Dale, and yeah. Speaking of, this isn't on my list, but they're also re-releasing like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, Icewind Dale 1 and 2, and Neverwinter Nights, the 2000 game. Some other Planescape Torment, and Planescape Torment as well on like Switch and PS4 and like all these sort of things, and that's cool. Baldur's Gate 3 is also multi-platform, of course. Blair Witch. This was shown at the Microsoft conference as well, and it looks to be, you know, it's a first-person survival horror game. You walk around a forest and it's scary. It's Blair Witch. It's Blair Witch Project, and I'm not too sold on it, but I like the idea that it's sort of this. It seems to be a game where replayability is the focus, because you only have like a specific amount of time to explore this forest and find clues, and then the story resets from the start. And I like that concept. I think you can do some interesting stuff with that. And the trailer itself wasn't that interesting. It was just your average creepy stuff and jump scares, but you know, it could be good. And there's a dog in it, and people love dogs. Bleeding Edge. This is Ninja Theory's new game. Ninja Theory is very hit and miss for me. I liked a few of their games and hated some of their games. But Bleeding Edge seems to be sort of a brawler. Like, it's, people have compared it to Anarchy Reign, and I love Anarchy Reign. And because basically it's, you know, these various colorful characters. Most of them do melee combat. It's 4 players, and you just fight the shit out of things. Really good art style, really cool character designs. Surprisingly, like, the majority of the female characters are in their 30s, which I thought was really neat. Like, you don't see that often. Like, that's cool. There's also like one of them who's like way older, like in her like 80s, and one who's like much younger, who's like 17 or something. But like, no, like the 2 or 3 of the women were like in their 30s, and that's nice to see. Like, just a little older women is nice to see. Borderlands 3. Now, taking aside everything Gearbox has said and done, and Randy Pitchford has said and done, Borderlands 3 looks good. I really liked the first Borderlands, and I never played the sequels. And I actually own the sequels, but I just never played them. And I heard they're good, of course, but I just, yeah, didn't get around to them. So I'm actually quite interested in Borderlands 3. My problem right now is I don't want to support anything with Randy Pitchford on it, so it's like, probably won't get it, but it does look good. Like, I don't know, maybe it will be part of Xbox Game Pass or something, and maybe I'll end up getting it that way. I don't know. But it does look really cool. I like the art style still. I like the art style back in when the first game released as well, but it looks even better now. I like the character designs a lot. There's the new Siren, I don't know her name, but she's like super muscular, and she summons like extra arms to beat the shit out of others with. I don't know why I can't talk today. So yeah, that's really cool. I love that. Yeah, Borderlands 3 looks good. I hope that I can get convinced to pay money for it eventually. Code Vein. I've been waiting for this game for a long time. If you don't know what Code Vein is, it's basically a Dark Souls-like, except you play as a pretty anime vampire. You create your own pretty anime vampire. And they don't call them vampires, they call them revenants because they're scared of using silly terms like vampire, which is, you know... honestly, I always find it a bad sign when something like a vampire game is afraid of using the term vampire. It's a bit like how Tokyo Ghoul prefers to use ghoul, and it's like, you're not sounding cooler, you're just sounding afraid of your own medium, you know? But it looks really good. It looks really good. A very in-depth character customization, gorgeous art style, and looks like to be a really solid, like, Dark Souls clone as well in terms of gameplay. Like, yeah, it looks just super good. The boss designs are, like, gorgeous. Like, it's a really good looking game. And it's coming out this year, and I'm really excited for it. It's by the developers that made the God Eater games. And the God Eater games are popular. I haven't played them, but they're popular, so that's cool. Hoping it's going to be great. I am excited. Collection of Mana. I was not prepared for this one. Collection of Mana, which is the second Densetsu collection, released in Japan 2 years ago on the launch day of the Switch, and everyone was like, well, that's never coming out here, because they didn't localize Second Densetsu 3, so how would they release it? Well, now they've localized Second Densetsu 3. It's called Trials of Mana now. We'll be talking about it more later on. And yeah, not only did they just drop this on the same day as they announced it, just like, it's available now! They're going to be releasing a physical copy of the collection, and the way they translated the third game, Second Densetsu 3, Trials of Mana, was that they actually had to like get an old ROM and do a ROM hack on it to expand the size of the cartridge. Because once again, they don't have the source code for this stuff, so they had to they solved it via ROM hacking and then translated the game. And translation looks really good. I'm looking forward to playing it. Second Densetsu 3 is actually my favorite Second Densetsu game. I played the fan translation back in the day, and I'm glad it's finally being available to everyone who has a Switch, at least. And I also like that the first game, Second Densetsu Final Fantasy Gaiden, is called Mystic Quest in Europe still. If you don't know, Final Fantasy wasn't a thing in Europe. Like, we had never seen a Final Fantasy game. But we got Second Densetsu. And we also got Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. So what we did was we renamed Second Densetsu, or Final Fantasy Adventures, it was called in North America, to Mystic Quest. And then we renamed Final Fantasy Mystic Quest to Mystic Quest Legend. So for a while, it seemed that Final Fantasy would be called Mystic Quest in Europe. And I would love to imagine what like that world would have been like if it stayed like that, you know? It would have been interesting. Commander Keen. Oh dear, this probably didn't go as Bethesda expected it to, and at the same time, I don't know what they expected. They announced the Commander Keen revival. It's a sequel to the original games. You play as the original Billy Blaze's twin children, Billy and Billy, and it's a slow-paced puzzle game on the phone. Now, I need to be clear. I actually think this might be good. First of all, the art style is gorgeous. Like the animated trailer they released is just perfect. Like, it's beautiful, and I wish it was a platformer. I really, really do, but it isn't. But the gameplay itself might not necessarily be bad. So far, the biggest issue I have with it is that it looks really slow. Like, it looks really, really slow to the point of boredom. And if they could make it just a bit more fast-paced and interactive, it could be decent. And I mean, I'm sure they have concepts there, so I'm not going to write it off entirely just yet. But at the same time, surely you knew this wasn't what Commander Keen fans wanted, right? Right? I don't know. I thought it was neat, though, that the trailer alludes to the fact that Billy Blaze and the Billy Blaze Jr. and Billy Blaze, the girl, are descendants of B.J. Blazkowicz from Wolfenstein. Because you see like family photos on the wall, and you have BJ there, you have BJ's daughters there from the new Wolfenstein game, and I thought that was neat. I thought that was really cool. Control. This game was strangely absent at E3. It did have a trailer and such, but it wasn't shown off much. It's Remedy Games' new game, and it looks really cool. It's this sort of shooter with like superpowers. You can like manipulate the world and such, psychic powers. It looks cool. Like I showed it at last year's E3, and it looks the same now. It's out soon, so I'm hoping they'll be showing it off more soon as well, because I want to see more of it before I decide if I get it or not. I like the fact that the main character's gun transforms into other guns instead of just like her finding new guns. It's the same gun, and it just like takes different forms. I think that I always like that concept. I think it's cool. Yeah, looks okay. Corpse Killer 25th Anniversary Edition. Well, this sure happened. If you don't know, Corpse Killer is a terrible, terrible, terrible rail shooter for, I believe, the Sega Mega CD, and maybe some other system as well. That's the one I remember it from. I think it got a Sega Mega CD 32X release as well, and it's basically just FMV zombies, and it's terrible. Like, it's terrible. It's hilariously bad, which is why I'm guessing it's back now, in a remastered version for every single system, and a physical edition. I don't know what happened, but yeah, that's the thing. There was actually a lot of zombie games this year at E3. I think this is might be the only one I'm actually going to talk about, though, because the other ones weren't interesting. It was like Dying Light 2, an expansion for State of Decay, Overkill's The Walking Dead. Apparently Rainbow Six is getting a zombie mode now or something. I don't know. Christails. Christails is a indie-developed RPG, clearly inspired by classic Japanese role-playing games, and it looks really good. They showed it at the PC Gaming Show, and it just has this beautiful art style and classic but seemingly solid gameplay. It looks pretty. I like it, and it has a good name too. Christails is a good name. I like that. It's good. Just check it out. It's it's on everything, and it's going to not cost too much, and I think it's worth checking out. Cyberpunk 2077. I didn't want to talk about this one because I don't have anything nice to say. So, what little gameplay they've shown has not been impressive to me. The 3D CG pre-rendered trailers have not been impressive to me. The fact that they got Keanu Reeves is cool, but in the end won't sell me on the game. And then there was the whole trans thing. Cyberpunk 2077 has a lot of accusations going out right now regarding transphobia and racism and other things, and they're not doing a good job at CD Projekt Red at responding to it. It doesn't help that CD Projekt Red's also under fire for having extreme levels of crunch and bad management of its employees, which they are still sticking by. And yeah. And they did announce that you're going to be able to play as a trans person in Cyberpunk 2077. There's going to be like character customization options that allows for that, which I'm hesitant to say it's good until I see it. But that's something at least. But God, I'm not at all excited for this anymore. Like, even if the game turns out to be good, it's just been so much ill will and from CD Projekt's side, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, sorry. Demon Ex Machina. Maybe it's Demon Cross Machina. No, it must be Ex Machina, like there's Ex Machina. That makes sense. This is the mecha game with all the colors on the Switch. It's a Switch exclusive game, and it has this like just extreme art style where the colors are just flying everywhere, and it's just a complete utter mess, but it's beautiful. My only real problem with it is that that kind of game gives me headaches, and that sucks because I want to play it. And you know, there hasn't been a good mecha game in a while. Like, yeah, give me one. I'm excited for it. Again, like Switch, like Nintendo's been knocking out of the park with exclusive titles. I gotta say. Astral Chain that I mentioned earlier is also a Switch exclusive, and yeah, this one just looks ridiculous in the best way. Like, I'm there for it. Cool. Yes, please, more. Deathloop. This is Arcane Studios' new game, and they didn't show the gameplay, they just gave the concept of it, which is basically two characters on what I'm guessing is like sort of like a death game island. They're both assassins, but like one enjoys being there and one hates being there. So one wants to basically become like, you know, Queen of the Hill and, you know, be the most lethal person there, and the other one wants to just use their skills as a killer to get off the island and survive. And you're going to be playing, I believe, both characters, and like they'll be, you know, thrust on each other, and I don't know, it looks good. Also, it was celebrated for being something as unusual as a game with two playable characters, and both of them are black, which it's astounding how that's like legitimately worth celebrating because it's so rare, but that's great. And for some reason, the title is written with quotation marks. It's Deathloop in quotes. Like, that's the actual name. I checked Bethesda's own website to be sure, and yes, it's written with the quotation marks all the time. So that's interesting. Doom Eternal. I actually haven't talked about Doom Eternal on this channel, which is strange considering how much I talked about Doom 2016 before that came out. Doom Eternal looks good. I do have some reservations about it, but it looks good. It looks like more of Doom 2016, and Doom 2016 was good. I love the idea that we're bringing down the Wrath of the Heavens, and we'll be fighting like Doom's equivalent of angels as well. Like, I think that's a really neat concept, and I'm looking forward to that. There are some things like that I'm not too fond of. I think it's relying way too much on nostalgia factor. Like, Doom 2016 was a pretty good blend of like old and new, but Doom Eternal just brings back even more old designs for weapons and monsters, and they're hinting that they're going to reveal that the Doomslayer will be is the original Doom Marine as well, which, you know, as someone who actually cares deeply about Doom lore, that doesn't make sense unless they're going to be retconning out most of the original games that's no longer being canon, which sucks. But yeah, it looks really good. I don't like some of the visual elements. I don't like the like the weapons are like now floating midair, and like everything looks very arcadey and sort of arena multiplayer shootery, which would be fine if it was an arena multiplayer shooter. But in single player, I don't want that because I find it distracting. And I thought Doom 2016 did really good with this. Like, there wasn't any point where like the environment felt out of place, and Doom Eternal feels out of place a lot of the time. This is why I played Doom 2016. I played without the glowing enemies for the execution moves. I forget what they called them actually. Because that just took me out of the game. I don't want like glowy things like that. It distracts me. But still, it looks really good. I'm excited for it. I am definitely getting it when it releases in November, I believe. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Well, so they're doing an RPG based on Dragon Ball Z. That rhymed. I didn't meant for it to be... I don't know. Looks good. It has a really huge world. You can fly around in it, and you play through Goku's story, which is why it's called Kakarot, because that's Goku's birth name from his home planet. And yeah, I might get this. I like Dragon Ball, but I'm not super fond of fighting games, so I rarely get to play a Dragon Ball game I care about. So this sounds like it might be right up my alley. So yeah, I am down for this. Looks gorgeous too, and you can fish in it. You can put on your tail as Goku and fish with your tail, and that's beautiful. Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition. Dragon Quest XI is a cool game that I haven't gotten far in, which you probably know if you've watched my Let's Play of it with Clara. But they're releasing a new version for the Switch this year, which has a bunch of additional content. First off, the main character has a voice. He will be voiced by Saga in Japanese, who happens to be my favorite voice in everything ever made. Saga, if you don't know, is also the voice of Hibiki in Puripara, which is my favorite performance of hers, and she also does a lot of... She used to do a lot of like singing solo stuff. Just beautiful voice, so I'm glad that she's playing the lead. They're also going to allow you to get married to any party member, regardless of gender. Well, they didn't say any party member, but they will let you get married to party members regardless of gender. In the original game, you can only get married with, I believe, one character, and it's a girl. And now you'll be able to pick from boys as well, so that's neat. Even though the marriage stuff in Dragon Quest XI really only means that you live together. Yay! But you know, hey, that's better than nothing. And I think it's neat. Dragon Quest has only had one previous instance of same-gender marriage, and that was Dragon Quest IV. If you played as a female character in Dragon Quest IV, you end up with a woman in the end, because you always get together with your childhood friend at the end of Dragon Quest IV, and your childhood friend is always a girl, so, you know, that's just how it ends. But it looks good. I will probably be getting it for the Switch, and I'll probably just play it alongside my original PC save file that me and Clara are playing on together. But yeah, it looks cool. Dragon Quest actually is a thing in the West now, and it's great. Speaking of Dragon Quest, Builders 2. I still haven't played the first Dragon Quest Builders. I know, I'm terrible. But this looks great. It just... it's so pretty. I love Dragon Quest. I love Toriyama's art style. I love games where you build stuff. I like Minecraft a lot. So Dragon Quest Minecraft... Yeah, of course I'm gonna love it. I just need to play it already. Elden Ring. So From Software's new RPG is called Elden Ring. It's based on Norse mythology, and it's been made with George R.R. Martin in an advisory role, and that's all we know right now. It's going to be an RPG, so it won't be more of an action adventure style thing like Sekiro was. It's going to be more like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, and I am interested in seeing it. All they've shown so far is like a pre-rendered trailer with some cool designs in it, but I like Dark Souls. I'm terrible at it. I absolutely suck at Dark Souls, but I like it. So yeah, bring on a Norse mythology Dark Souls. I just hope that it doesn't like play too much into boring and played out stereotypes of Norse mythology, because there's a lot of cool stuff there that often gets overlooked that I'm hoping they tap into. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yay! So Final Fantasy VII Remake is here. It has a release date. It has new trailers. It has Aerith. It has Tifa. And it looks gorgeous! Oh, I love it. I'm so... So, you might remember that 4 years ago, I made a video saying that I think it's okay that Final Fantasy VII Remake is episodic. And I got some flack for that, but I still believe that that's okay. And once again, it's still episodic. This first episode will be Midgar, although I'm guessing they actually will be in Midgar, and then they will actually include the story up to Calm, because makes more sense to end it there than just when you leave Midgar. And it's going to be expanded into a full game. You get to explore all of Midgar, a bunch of new quest lines, and it just... it looks beautiful. I'm so excited for it. The gameplay looks great. I love that it has this Final Fantasy XII style, pause the game to put in commands kind of thing. Even though you can also play it with like a more action style Kingdom Hearts quick menu thing. It looks great. Like, it's so good. I'm in love with every part of it. Aerith looks great. The new voices are great. Tifa's new design is just the best thing ever. She has these thigh-high socks, which is just super hot. And she wears like a compression sports bra and a fitted tank top, which gives her like just this bit more athletic of a look. And she also wears like what are they called, spats beneath her skirt, which is now pleated as well. It's no longer a pencil skirt, so she can actually move her legs, and she looks great. So of course people are complaining that she's being censored, which is just ridiculous. people are even like misquoting and mistranslating a quote from Nomura where he said that like, oh yeah, like we wanted her to look athletic, so the ethics department suggested to use a sports bra so that she doesn't look out of place when she's fighting, and that's all that he actually said. But no, she looks perfect. Like I love her. Like Tifa was my favorite of the 3 main girls in the original Final Fantasy VII, and I'm more in love with her now than I was back then. So yes, please, please. Oh, I'm so excited. It's releasing on March 3rd, and yeah, sign me up. I'm getting it. I'm getting it day one. Of course, it's what I do. Yeah. This was probably my game of show. Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. This one I was kind of expecting, but also not. I expected there to be a port of Final Fantasy VIII to more systems, because they ported Final Fantasy VII, and they lost both 7 and 8 source code, and they had to go through the PC versions and sort of retroactively recreate parts of those games through that. And I figure since 7 is now out on everything, 8 would be next. I didn't think they would be remastering it and give it new models and textures and stuff. That's really cool. It looks really good. It looks basically like what if Final Fantasy VIII released on the Dreamcast back in the day. And that is an idea I can get behind. I want that to be the case for all PS1 remasters from now on. Just make them look like Dreamcast games. Like, it looks great. I'm excited for it. Final Fantasy VIII is a really good game, and it's a shame that it often gets flack for not being Final Fantasy VII, but it's a really good game, and I'm glad that it's going to be available on everything. So yeah, cool. Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. It's coming out in 7 days in early access, and then like 4 days later in main release. And I'm excited for it. It's the new expansion of Final Fantasy XIV. It looks great. I don't have much to say about it here, but like, it just, I haven't been this excited for an expansion pack ever. Like, I'm that excited. I love everything about this. It looks so cool. I love the story concept. I love the Dancer and Gunbreaker designs. I would have liked the Hrothgar if they weren't locked to male-only characters, and the Viera being locked to female-only characters. Or rather, and I might as well talk about this now, like, my issue with those gender locks is not the same as other people's. So, other people are like, oh, well, like, they shouldn't have restricted them, because, like, that's bad, because restricted gender options are bad. And normally I would agree, but no, my issue is not that. My issue is that they restricted them while writing lore that still has, you know, the both Viera and Hrothgar with binary genders. Like, there are male Viera, there are female Hrothgar, and yet you can't play as them. And they're like, oh, well, they're uncommon, or like, oh, but they're hidden. But it's like, no, bullshit. Like, the player is the player. They should be able to be like the one that stands out anyway. And you wrote the lore. If you wanted to lock the genders down, you could have written a lore where all the Viera just have one gender, and it's not necessarily male or female, because they don't recognize gender, because they just live in a gender-neutral society. And you could have done that for both the Viera and Hrothgar, and it would have been fine. You literally just created lore that hurts you, when you could have made a lore that actually complements you, and I hate that so much. But that's my issue anyway. But yeah, excited for Shadowbringers. It looks great. I can't wait to become what I must, the Warrior of Darkness. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition. Lots of remasters, huh? So, Crystal Chronicles, another great game. The biggest issue with Crystal Chronicles is that it's on the GameCube, and you have to play it with 4 Game Boy Advances and Game Boy Advance connection cables to the GameCube to play it in multiplayer. So now you can play it online, on the Switch, or the PS4, or your phone, but not PC somehow, which is really strange. But yeah, that looks great. I love Crystal Chronicles. Looking forward to it. Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Okay, so I didn't think I would ever play a Fire Emblem game again. Fire Emblem Echoes released on 3DS, but I don't really like the 3DS, so I don't play games on that much. And of course, following the incident regarding Fire Emblem Fates and what I said about it, I wasn't really on board with going back to the series, but Fire Emblem Three Houses is winning me over. A big reason for this is that a leak was verified during E3, which confirms that like most of the game takes place after a time skip, so you're not your teacher romancing your students. Their former teacher in their age range romancing them, which is much better. There won't be any like child soldiers thingy, you won't be making babies to make more playable characters. So that whole nonsense is out, and the leak also verifies more gay and bi characters, which is beautiful. I love that. They also verify that your female main character doesn't have to look awful because her starting outfit looks terrible, and the story sounds alright. It looks good. I am actually open to playing this game. It's coming out next month. Will Nintendo fuck something up and make me not buy it? We will see. We'll see in a month. Ghostwire Tokyo. So this is Tango Gameworks' new game, and we don't really know much about it at all, except it's being directed by Nakamura. Oh shit! I forgot her full name. Nakamura. Oh, I'm so sorry. But anyway, Nakamura, who previously did character monster designs and regular design stuff on games like The Evil Within, and why can't I remember her credits right now? She's been working on a lot of really cool stuff. Like, she's a really cool person, and she went out on stage at the festival's press conference, just had all the energy, and was like, she sold everyone on this game, even though we don't know much about it yet, except that it's going to be a mystery game set in Tokyo, it will involve ghosts, and it's going to be spooky. So, yes, thank you. Gods and Monsters. Again, we don't really know anything about, but this time because it was at the Ubisoft conference where nothing was shown, pretty much. So this is a role-playing game set in Greek mythology, and it's really colorful and pretty, and that's all we know. Looks good. Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. So this is the final mix, sort of, DLC re-releasing thing of Kingdom Hearts 3. Well, it's not a re-release, it's just DLC. And it's going to involve new stories. You can play as Roxas, you can play as Riku, as Aqua, and more characters. It's going to be new form changes, and we're going to get even more answers about the Organization 13. And yeah, it looks really cool. I love Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3 was beautiful. I love it so much. It's currently my game of the year, alongside Heart of the Woods. So yes. Speaking of, Heart of the Woods coming out on Switch. I forgot to mention that. Lost Words Beyond the Page. This is another interesting one. It seems to be sort of a adventure platformer game where you play as a girl writing a journal that she got from her like dying grandmother, and like the adventure part is the stuff in the journal. So like it's sort of like how in Winnie the Pooh they would sometimes cut from the movie to the actual pages of the book and the characters who interact with the pages of the book. This game does that, so like sometimes you're actually on the pages and doing stuff, and sometimes you're in the world of the book. And it's about this girl wanting to finish her story so that she can show it to her grandmother. And I'm guessing, the big dramatic thing will be that, her grandmother's dying. So, yeah, it's going to be one of those games. Still, I thought it looked really good. Outriders. This was shown at Square Enix press conference. A first-person shooter. It's going to be co-op. It seems to be about fighting demons. I think that looks really neat. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Panzer Dragoon Remake. This was another one that came out of nowhere. At I believe the Nintendo presentation. A remake of the original Panzer Dragoon, and it's called Panzer Dragoon Remake apparently. And yeah, it's Panzer Dragoon, Panzer Dragoon lives again. If you don't know what Panzer Dragoon is, it was a Sega Saturn on-rails adventure flying on a dragon game, and it was really cool. It was also on PC, I think, actually, now that I think about it. And yeah, it's beloved. People love Panzer Dragoon, and yeah, that's great. Phantasy Star Online 2. So Microsoft announced that they're bringing out PSO2. That's cool. PSO2 was announced for the West in 2011 and never actually came out. And it's been out in Japan since 2012, and it's still active and alive today. So what has happened now is it's only releasing in North America, not Europe, because it's releasing through Microsoft Azure service, which, okay. And I don't know, like, it's going to be releasing on Xbox One, PS4, PC, I think maybe even Switch, actually, I'm not sure. And that's all well and good, and I like PSO2 as a game a lot. My problem is that Phantasy Star is very near and dear to me, and Phantasy Star Online 2, specifically, like, just, in my opinion, pissed all over its legacy a few years ago. So I have sworn off that game and boycotted it, despite the fact that I played the Japanese version since closed beta. So I don't know. Like I'm a bit torn here because I'm really excited that it's finally coming out in English because it is a good game. I'm also really frustrated because it's not coming out in Europe. But at the same time, I don't know if I would want to play it anyway because I am so pissed at what they did. So I don't want to spoil what they did, but yeah, I don't know. It's cool though. Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. So, I'm getting this game at launch. I'm really excited for it. I think it looks great. I've loved everything I've seen about it. And the big controversy about, of course, is that all the Pokemon will not be available at launch. It sucks. I get why people are frustrated and disappointed at this. I also understand why that's not the case, and I know enough about game development to recognize what a ridiculous, like just how hard it would be to still keep all the Pokemon in the game and keep the, sort of existing release pattern. And I want to talk a bit about this. I want to say that the comments I've heard regarding fixing this aren't very genuine in my opinion, because people have said, oh, well, they should just delay it. And people wouldn't mind a delay. But people were outraged just last year that Let's Go came out and it wasn't a regular Pokemon game. So no, people would not be cool with a delay. The fact that Animal Crossing was delayed into spring next year, that caused an outrage. People aren't cool with delays, it's not that easy. And second, Game Freak don't have control of their releases. The Pokemon Company schedules these releases ahead of time, alongside producing a new anime, a new manga, the card game, and all these things had to be tied into a set release schedule. Even if they wanted to delay it, they had to get approval from the Pokemon Company, and they might not want to do that because the game is a big part of promoting the new generation. I think the only real way for them to win here is for them to promise they will be patching the game after release to allow all the Pokemon back into the game. And I'm also expecting that to happen, to be honest. But we'll see. But yeah, I think the game itself looks great. The raids look fun. The graphics look great. The world looks really nice. The designs are wonderful. I am there. I'm here for it. Remnant from the Ashes. This is another co-op shooter. It looks a bit Left 4 Dead-ish, but it's third person. And again, it's shooting demons and stuff in a modern day environment. It looks cool. It was one of those games that I missed at E3 and saw after E3, and I think it looks really neat. I don't have much more to say on it though. Romancing Saga 3. So they're bringing out two new Saga games, and the first one they're bringing out is Romancing Saga 3, which was never localized into English before, and it's coming out on all the systems, and it looks cool. I've never been that big on the Saga games, but I am still happy for those who are, and I'm glad that it's being recognized in the West again. Because Romancing Saga 2's remake, it's like an enhanced port, really, released a while back, and it's been silent ever since then, but now we're getting Romancing Saga 3, so that's cool. I'm probably gonna play it, so yeah. I am glad about that. Saga Scarlet Grey's Ambitions. And this is the new release of the previously PS Vita exclusive Saga sequel from a few years ago. This is also coming out in English, and that's really neat. Like, I didn't think we would ever see this localized, so I don't know if this game is good or bad. I haven't heard anything about it, but it's coming out on, once again, all the systems, and yeah, I am excited for Saga fans, and I will probably still check it out myself. Shenmue III. Shenmue 3 looks to be a Shenmue game, and that's all I've ever wanted. My favorite game of all time is Shenmue 2, and I backed this years ago, and I'm excited for it, and I think it looks good. I think it's really scummy what they did regarding the store, like the whole storefront thing on PC, and I'm not sure I like everything that's happened development-wise with it, but I'm still excited for it. I am there, day one. I mean, I've already secured my game copy, so yeah, of course. But it looks great. It looks exactly like what Shenmue 3 would have been like if it was made, you know, back when it was supposed to be made, except with new high production values for a new era, and that's all I really wanted. Spiritfarer. This was shown at, I believe, the Microsoft press conference, and it's a game where you like have this boat that you like build houses on, and you have people on, and like it seems to be like you. I believe, as the name implies, that you're basically Charon. Is it Charon? Is it Charon? I'm not sure. On the River Styx, you know, taking spirits across, you know, the River Styx. So it's like the people who come to live on your boat will eventually move on to the other side, so you have to like live with these people on your boat and then say goodbye to them, and it looks to be very emotional and pretty and very indie game, so to say. It looks really good, really cool. I'm looking forward to it. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. No, it didn't grab me. I watched the gameplay, the 14 minutes of gameplay, and no, it looked boring. It looked incredibly boring. I've since then heard that apparently it's like a Metroid-style game with like open-ended environments and you can go freely between planets and stuff, and it's like, wow, they should have shown that. That would have been interesting, but no, that's not what they showed. I just don't care. Like, what they've shown in this game looks so boring, and I really want to be excited because I love Jedi Knight. And this is like sort of the spiritual successor to Jedi Knight. But so far, no, it's not selling me at all. Like, you can talk about how it doesn't have loot boxes as much as you want, or, I'm sorry, surprise mechanics, that's what EA are calling them now. But that alone won't sell me on your game. Tales of Arise. So the new flagship Tales of game looks kind of dull, actually. It's once again, it's a split protagonist thing, like in Tales of Xillia, where you have one woman and one man, and the woman is most likely going to be secondary and sort of pushed to the side in terms of protagonist status. The game itself looks fine. Like, the gameplay looks good, and like the graphics are okay. Like it has a new art style that is, people aren't too, not everyone is fond of it. It's a little less traditional Tales and more like, it looks a bit more generic. Let's just say what it is. It looks a bit more generic. The actual character design so far are hit and miss. Like, the girl design is really great, but the boy design is like awful. Like, it's really bad. But hey, it might be good. I am always open to a new Tales of game. I play them all, so yes. The Outer Worlds. This is the new game by those developers that made Fallout New Vegas. Obsidian, that's what they're called. The Outer Worlds is a new RPG by Obsidian, and you travel across planets, and it's like an open-ended, you make your own character, make your own choices kind of thing. It's being sold as the spiritual successor to Fallout New Vegas, and people are excited, and I'm glad they are excited. It looks okay. My problem is that I don't like Fallout New Vegas. I know. Actually, I don't like any Obsidian game. I've played a lot of Obsidian games, and none of them have grabbed me, so I'm not that interested in this. But it looks okay. I'm willing to give it a chance, definitely. I mean, I like sci-fi, I like RPGs, and if nothing else, it might entertain me. It's not like I hated all of their games or anything. They just didn't grab me the way they grabbed others. The sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And yes, that's its current name. So, they're making a sequel to Breath of the Wild. Who would have thought? Yeah, most people who know how video games work, I would reckon. We don't know much about it yet. It seems like Ganondorf is back. He's a corpse. People on Twitter wants to fuck him. You know, the usual stuff. Zelda has short hair. We're hoping Zelda is playable. She probably won't be. Oh well. I didn't like Breath of the Wild much. It's okay. Trials of Mana. Okay, so now we're talking about Seiken Densetsu 3's remake. So they made remakes of the first two Seiken Densetsu games. Final Fantasy Adventure, or Mystic Quest, was remade as... Well, initially it was remade as Sword of Mana, but we don't talk about that one. It was remade as Adventures of Mana for smartphones and PS Vita. And then Secret of Mana got a remake for PS4 and PC, and I believe PS Vita as well. And now Trials of Mana is getting a remake, and it's the most ambitious one yet. It's like fully 3D, of course. It's like it's not a top-down perspective anymore. It's like it's more like a regular modern-day RPG. It's made on the Unreal Engine. It looks really cool. I'm excited. Again, Seiken Densetsu 3 is my favorite Seiken Densetsu, and I am definitely playing both the remake and the new release of it. I'm so happy that Seiken Densetsu is a thing. Vampire: The Masquerade, Bloodlines 2. Yeah, I'm sold. I'm really sold on this game. I am not as fond of the original Bloodlines as some other people are, and I even played the actual pen and paper role-playing game. I used to LARP Vampire: The Masquerade. I used to play Vampire: The Masquerade Redemption, which, if you don't know, is the first PC game they made before Bloodlines. And yeah, this looks really good. It just looks like, it looks really neat. It's an open-ended RPG, like other open-ended RPGs. You make your own character. They've already confirmed there will be non-binary options, and like you can play a trans character. Rather, you will have pronoun options that are separate from your the rest of the character creation, and that's beautiful, and it's pretty, and it looks like it has really good combat, and yeah, I am there. I'm probably going to play a Toreador. We will see. I have played a lot of various clans in my days. I played most of them, but right now I'm feeling like I'm gonna make a Toreador. So yeah, I'm excited for Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines 2 next year. War of the Visions, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. So, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, which is the really popular mobile Final Fantasy game that is not one of the ones that's just like, hey, let's just collect all the heroes of the old games and do a party game. Like, no, this is actually like its own story and universe. It's getting a Final Fantasy Tactics game, and it's called War of the Visions, and it looks really, really cool. And it's by the same developers as the original Brave Exvius, so it's in good hands. And I know people aren't too fond of mobile games always, but I like them. So I'm down for this. I think it looks neat. I am all here for it. Yes. War of the Visions looks good. Watch Dogs Legion. Well, color me surprised. I am interested in a Watch Dogs game. That took a while. So Watch Dogs Legion is set in a post-Brexit London where fascism rules, and every single regular civilian can be recruited as a playable character in the resistance fighting back against fascism, which somehow is not political according to Ubisoft. It looks really good. I am in love with the idea. Now, I will have to make some. I should say that I know someone working on the game, so you know, full transparency there. They're actually like part of the character team, so they're doing characters for it. So I do have a bit of a bias there. I want their game to be good, obviously. But yeah, I'm excited for it. It looked really cool. You can play as an old lady, you can hack stuff as an old lady, and why not? Yes, why not? It looks really neat. I like it. Wolfenstein Youngblood. So, the spin-off Wolfenstein game set between the new Colossus and whatever the next Wolfenstein game will be is a co-op shooter with BJ's twin daughters, and it looks It looks great. I mean, it's just killing Nazis, but in the 80s. Wolfenstein, the new modern Wolfenstein series, or the new modern games, I should say, it's the same series, are some of the few pieces of media that truly understands how bad Nazis were and are. Like, they don't shy away from talking about what the Nazis did and really just diving into wanting to kill Nazis, and I love that. I appreciate that, and that's what makes me glad that we're getting so much of it. And Youngblood looks to be more of the same, which in this case is good. I want to see more of the same here. And that's E3. That's the stuff I want to talk about. I'm sure there was stuff I missed, but I did ask on Twitter for like games that they thought were important to talk about, and I added those to the list to make sure I wouldn't miss those. So yeah, E3 was pretty cool. Like I said, I wasn't hyped going into it. I came out of it really excited for a lot of games, and not excited for some other games. And yeah. I don't know how to sign off videos. It's been too long since I made one.